I got to know Ron really through his wife, Sudie. At the time, I was running for school committee. Sudie was a reporter, and we had a conversation at the soccer field, and she was asking a bit about what I was doing for work, and I told her. She had mentioned that Ron was currently working at a company, but that he was very interested in networking, technology, computers. I said, gee, sounds like somebody I should meet. Of course, we didn't have many employees then, so it was a relatively new process for all of us, but ultimately at that point in time, from that meeting, we ended up going forward with an employment relationship. He would have been either our second or our third employee. Ron and I have always had a special relationship as it pertains to working together. He was there when there was nothing there. It was all about figuring it out. We didn't really have answers to a lot of the questions that people would have. We'd always have to go do some research and such. But the thing that always amazed me was he would start off by saying, no, we probably can't do that, and then get a hold of me at night or the next day and say, you know what, I think we can do that. And before you know it, we were doing that. He just always was willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done, which is really what makes him very special in my heart. Ron and I worked on so many projects together. Ron is the type of guy that would never say no, and he would, follow us anywhere, and we did some crazy stuff together. If you look at GraVoc and you look at all the things that we've accomplished, anything from a technology standpoint, his fingerprint has been on it. Whenever something new had to be done, he was always the first guy in line to do it. One of the most interesting projects, it was our first time leaving the state really to do a project. We went down to New Jersey. We had to install a server and convert, and Bill Jackson was there as well in helping crawl and pull cables. It was quite a project because it was quite a large facility, and we really depended on Ron. We laughed all day, and we sort of relaxed at night and did it again, woke up the next day and did it again. Ron taught me to be human. A lot of times he taught me to be realistic. I'm a guy that pretty much wants to accomplish anything and everything, and sometimes I needed some grounding. But most importantly, he taught me how valuable friendship, trust, and loyalty are, because he exemplified that to me. 24 years of knowing a person who I can say always had our back. He treated GraVoc like it was his own. To me, that's very special. Ron will still be working as a contractor when we need him. I know he'll always be there as a friend. When he walks into my office and says, hey Dave, it's like a familiar voice and an old friend is there. He truly is a guy. We laughed together, and at an appropriate time we cried together. So Ron's not leaving me or GraVoc. Ron will be there in my heart for a long time.
Oh man. I'm Dan Vasallo, controller at GraVoc, and I've been working with Ron since 2007 or 2008. Ron really shaped my career and some of my knowledge, and this is probably a similar answer that you'd get from anybody else who's been around for a while. When I started here, I barely knew how to turn a computer on. I was leaning so hard on Ron, and I was put into the role of purchasing items, and there were so many components, so many specifications that I didn't know what any of it was. So just continuing to lean on Ron's experience, lean on Ron's expertise. He was the guru. He was the source of so much information. I think ever since I've just kind of been drawing on Ron's knowledge. He was never afraid to jump into things, and I think probably everybody here is going to say the same thing. It was a really important thing to learn and a really great example to follow. Probably when he started in certain projects, he didn't have all the answers himself, but he had the confidence to fake it till he made it. I'd like to think that I followed the same trajectory, just maybe without all of the knowledge that he still has, and the knowledge that we're certainly going to miss. Not only has he shaped the culture, a lot of us started, straight out of school, straight out of college. For a long, long time, he was the crutch. I feel like when I was putting together some of my first dozen penetration test reports, and I had to ask him all these questions, questions that I probably should have known, but I didn't. He did. He had the patience to kind of impart his knowledge up onto me. And I think that my story is one of probably a dozen. Look, I gained a lot of knowledge myself, but a lot of it was built on the foundation of learning from Ron Smoller. This is something that I'm not sure if too many people know about, but he and his wife Sudi, they kind of stumbled across the fact that in Peabody they're building a power plant, and they kind of were doing it behind everybody's back. It's extremely appropriate for somebody who only wears J. Garcia ties. I'm wearing a J. Garcia tie in his honor today because I knew I was doing this interview today. That a guy wearing J. Garcia ties all the time, he's been able to build a little project for himself, kind of living the hippie dream of doing the right thing for the environment and trying to stop this power plant. Continuing to make Peabody a better place, even after retirement. It's a really admirable thing and something that I just have tremendous, tremendous respect for. It fires me up as a fellow resident of Peabody, and it's so cool that it happens to be Ron, and it happens to be somebody that, that I've worked with for so long that's going to be spearheading this, this kind of initiative. I'm proud of him.
I'm Jason Vlachek, and I've been working with Ron a little bit over 20 years now. Ron was one of the first people that I met at GraVoc. One of the things that stands out from Ron is when I first met him, or I got rumors that, he was kind of like, who's this clown? Why do we need this wet behind the ears accountant? What's he going to do for GraVoc? As it ended up turning out, Ron and I actually worked really close together. In the early days, I actually worked a lot with Ron networking. So we had these little Nextel One Touch. We were short on hands, and I was going out and actually fixing computers and working on servers. And I remember, being in the server room, and I would call Ron, hey, what the hell do I do here? I'm not sure what I'm doing. And he would kind of walk me through, hey, do this or run this command and, unplug this, plug this in, try rebooting this. I learned a lot actually about networking and computers working with Ron. He really had a good attention to detail, and he was kind of a stickler for reading the upgrade instructions. He would go, step by step through the instructions, and if something wasn't right, we would either figure out it or call support. And that's definitely one of the takeaways that I've learned from Ron, is really kind of that attention to detail. And I was always, the person that would build something and have parts left over. I'm sure that's not Ron, Ron was an integral part of GraVoc's success, over the years. Without Ron, a lot of the networking and, really result from a lot of Ron's hard work on the networking and the computer side. I think Dave Gravel's, he's always had the utility knife, and I really think that Ron kind of exemplifies that utility knife. So Ron's really versatile employee, and he's going to be, sadly missed. He's definitely a big part of the success here at GraVoc.
I don't want to get emotional. Hi, I'm Tracy DeRosa. I'm currently the practice lead for infrastructure and cloud services here at GraVoc. I've been working with Ron since I started here at GraVoc about 10 years ago. He originally was my boss. The first time I met Ron, I was nervous. I was actually interviewing for my position here at GraVoc. He was sitting in the room and asking me questions about Active Directory and things having to do with servers. So that was kind of my first introduction to Ron, and it was very nerve-wracking. Ron was a great boss. He worked very well with people and myself and the customers. He was always willing to help out. He was always that person that was like, oh yeah, we can do that. And I think that's our motto here at GraVoc. The famous thing that Ron would always say to me was, oh, it's only going to take 5 minutes. So that was always his line to me when we had a project or something that we were working on. And then I'd get there and I'd be there all day. That seemed to be the overall theme between me and him. We developed a relationship that was more of a friendship rather than like a boss. What I'll miss most is that he was very real and very down to earth. He was just a great person to work with. His wealth of information that he has and that he's provided to me over the years is something that I'll miss, asking him, oh, hey, how do you do this? Or, how do you fix this? And he always seemed to have the answer. I think he taught me a lot of lessons, but I think the biggest one was don't give up on a problem. I think Ron has been the cornerstone of GraVoc for many years, and he was that driving force between keeping customers happy and making GraVoc money at the same time, and has always been open and willing to, try and go the extra mile for GraVoc.
Hi, this is Eric Canterbury. I worked with Ron for 16 years at GraVoc. For a while we were the IT practice. So I started in GraVoc right after Y2K. I worked with Ron in the IT department. We were IT before people knew what IT was, so we spent a lot of time learning, putting in new technologies and pretending we knew things that we necessarily didn't know. We started to work more and more together, and I could really see Ron being, a leader, a true, head of the department. Working with Ron was always an adventure. We'd be in a position to succeed, but he also was never afraid to send you out into the wild. He had confidence in us. He always was there if you had a question, and he was great at putting out fires. If we had situations we couldn't control, Ron could step in with a calm, clear head and just make everything all right. Me and Ron worked on many, many projects. My most memorable project is Family Doctors conversion. We converted them on the weekend that my son Reed was born, in between the hospital and Family Doctors working. We didn't skip a beat though, we got it done on the weekend, and it was quite memorable. The way we handled the fires and the floods at the old GraVoc buildings, we came into just an absolute disaster thinking it was over. And Ron just kind of came in and looked around and said, we can fix this. Rolled up the sleeves and we got to it. Didn't lose any data, didn't lose any customers. Ron has always taught me to do things the right way. We could always do it the quick way, we could always do it the cheap way, we could always do it the easy way, but Ron was insistent that we do things the right way. And that says a lot about Ron, and that says a lot about GraVoc and what he brought to GraVoc. From an IT perspective, Ron is extremely knowledgeable, but more so, if Ron doesn't know something, you wouldn't know that. He'll go home and do the research. He's genuinely interested in, brings a knowledge that I just, always looked up to, always strived to meet. I think Ron is directly responsible for building the IT practice at GraVoc Associates. Just he's that good of a guy.
How's that? Perfect. Yeah. My name's Steve Rizzo. I'm the current Director of IT Services. I've known Ron since I came here and about 10 years ago. Working with Ron through the years, it's been enjoyable. I've learned a lot from Ron, and I looked for him for some guidance and some knowledge, and he never let me down. You were always able to reach out to him, ask questions, get your answers. I always appreciated that. Some people don't follow up with you, but Ron was not one of those people. Ron's knowledge has shaped GraVoc from the beginning. He was one of the first employees here well before my time, and you can still see remnants of things that Ron has done to build GraVoc to become the business that it is now in the IT world. A valuable lesson from Ron is to always be upfront and straightforward with people. In our area, it's the easiest thing to do. It may not be good news, but it's the correct news to give to a coworker, to a customer, or even your boss.
Yeah. I'm Pat Kulikowski. I worked with Ron for 13 years. It was a great experience. If you asked him a question about anything to do with technology, he was very straightforward and would try to explain to you in layman's terms, and he always had a good attitude. I worked with him and under him because I ordered all the computer equipment. He was always very patient because I was like way out of my league at that point. But I enjoyed the work and I could go to him with whatever I needed. What I miss most about Ron is all of his information. Valuable lesson he taught me was to satisfy the client to the best of your abilities.
Cut. Hi, I'm Liz DeGeneva. I'm the Director of Project Management Services here at GraVoc, and I've been here 18 years with the company, and I've worked with Ron all of those years. We worked together on many accounts. Some of those accounts have started when we were here, but have long gone. Other accounts have been with us since GraVoc started, and I really counted on you with that, and just really appreciated your training in that. Ron had vast technical knowledge. Anytime there was a new technology or had any technical questions, I always knew I could go to him, and he would get the answer, and if he didn't, he'd find the answer. and he would be very, very helpful. Even though I got Ron sometimes, he still would be very, very helpful. Ron, I always enjoyed hearing your stories of your travels, whether it's the Highland Games in New Hampshire or the Jazz Festival, but there was some travels that I did not enjoy hearing, and that's when you went to Miami. Because I knew that you'd go to a Patriots game and the Patriots would invariably lose when you were there. And I remember cursing you, why did he have to pick these games to go to Miami? Other than Kathy and Dave, you are one of 2 people who've been here longer than I have. And it's really been great working with you.
All right, I'm Nate Gravel. I'm the Vice President of Information Security and IT here at GraVoc. I don't know if I recall the exact first time I met Ron. It seems like he's kind of always been around as the first employee besides my parents. Growing up with the company, it just seems like he's always been here. I got the chance to work with Ron very closely, obviously as a member of the IT practice. He was heading up the practice at the time that I came into the company. Ron's a pretty clutch individual, so he tends to shine when the times and the situation is at its worst. There have been a few times where we've been all hands on deck. One of our clients early on got hit with ransomware. He had to, help me with the Coinbase process and getting the wallet on my phone, and sent me to a Dorchester Bitcoin ATM at some sketchy gas station. All the while I had him kind of walking me through the steps on the phone. Anything and everything was kind of in our job scope in terms of getting our clients to where they need to be. Him doing that and being my guide, quite a weird scenario, just kind of speaks to who he is as a person and how committed he was to the company and its customers. Ron has taught me to measure twice and cut once. At the surface level, it always looks great. He would always kind of dive into, okay, what about this and what about that, and really think through so that we have all the angles covered. And that's something that I try to emulate as we move forward. I think Ron's been, in terms of his knowledge, has been the cornerstone of the IT knowledge and the institutional knowledge of our IT customers. I think that's something we're definitely going to miss, having somebody who has all that experience and wisdom in terms of seeing it all before on different projects. I mean, the work is great and we get everything done like we need to, but my favorite interactions with Ron are just shooting the breeze and talking about music and concerts we've been to and where he's been and his trips to New Orleans and things like that. The water cooler talk, if you will be what I miss most about not having Ron around here at the company.
Okay. My name is Brian Gravel. I'm the Vice President of Creative Technology at GraVoc, and I've been working with Ron for over 10 years and have known Ron for probably close to 2 decades. I can remember meeting Ron back when I was in middle school, really, because my parents obviously started the company, and I remember going down to the office and seeing him there really since pretty much day one. So my memories of Ron go back a long time. We shared a lot of synergies. He had a background in radio, in media, had done video production as the start of my career, so we had a lot of crossover and we always had good conversations. I think a valuable lesson that Ron has taught me is just to take the time out to engage with your coworkers. Just enjoy the conversation. Ron just knew how to be a good person. He's been such an institution to GraVoc. Ron's knowledge has shaped GraVoc as a company. He was constantly having to stay on top of trends, and technology is constantly evolving. Ron always had an interest and passion for learning new things, and that's really why we had a solid foundation to be as successful as we were, particularly in the IT practice. It's sad to see him go, but I'm very happy for Ron and his next steps in life, and I hope to see him at a Grateful Dead show, and I'm sure I will.
Oh geez. I'm Matt Wilkins. I work in IT. My relationship to Ron is Ron used to be my superior, and he ran the IT department, and I worked under Ron. Working with Ron for me was great because when I came into IT from software development, I didn't have a ton of IT experience, and Ron was more of a mentor to me, and he taught me so much stuff that I actually probably wouldn't work here because I wouldn't have cut it if I didn't have Ron. going someplace and then not knowing what you're supposed to be doing and then figuring it out on site. And like, he kind of taught me how to do that. I know that's one of the things that Dave talks about, but you don't let him see you sweat. Like, Ron made sure that you were comfortable in every situation. Jason really wanted a Link server installed at GraVoc, and I tried for 3 months to get it to work, and it was super complicated and I couldn't figure it out. And we were gonna scrap it, and then Ron actually told me to go at it again, that I could just take as much time as I needed to get it going, and I got it going, and the end product was actually really good. The very first day I worked at GraVoc, Jason asked me to check in with the IT to see if my computer was set up correctly. So I called downstairs and Ron answered, and Ron came upstairs, and Ron said to me, "Are you on the computer?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, then it's set up correctly." And then he walked downstairs. And then that was also the first time I've ever been Ron'd. I've been Ron many times, but that was the very first time, first day, first Ronning.
Did other people talk about getting Ron'd? Matt Wilkins have a story. His first Ron was his first day.
So I actually have been Ron many times, but I don't get Ron'd as often. As Jason would call it, that I was the golden child, that I didn't get Ron'd as often. Jason and Roman, everybody got Ron'd a lot. You could get to the solution one way, but if you didn't do it Ron's way, Ron would actually let you know by Ronning you that you weren't doing it the way that he wanted you to do it.
You know, he knows we named a verb after him, getting Ron. Enjoy kind of egging him on and trying to get Ron and myself for some laughs. Ron would always give him storage space on servers, and Mike Roma would fill it up just as fast as Ron could give it to him, and Ron would kind of get pissed at him, but it was all in good fun, so.
The term "got Ron'd" really was, I think I was the originator of the term "got Ron'd." I didn't get Ron'd much. Every once in a while there was a situation where we would disagree, and he would tell me I did it wrong, or I shouldn't have said something, I shouldn't have agreed to something. It was one of those things.
I'm sure there's a phenomenon that you've heard about of being Ron'd. It's an event where Ron would crap on you for some period of time, and you don't even realize you're being crapped on until it's over, and there's no escape from that event. One of the times where I was Ron, I went into his office down at 81 Main Street with what I thought was a very innocent question. And he railed on me for about 5 minutes, and I remember turning and saying, "What the not even remember what my question was when I was walking out of there. And I came face to face with Eric and Matt, and all I heard them say was, "Welcome to the club, you've just been Ron'd." I treat it as like a rite of passage.
Like everyone else, it's a rite of passage at GraVoc to be Ron'd, and I was Ron'd at an early stage, so we got that out of the way. My thought on that and getting Ron'd is, that shows you that you're doing something important enough for him to care about, so I don't take it as a bad thing, and you move through it and hope that it doesn't happen again, but there's always the chance that it does.
He was relatively easy on me. I'm not sure why he was relatively easy on me, but I know that Wilkins got a really high volume of that, but I really do think he went easy on me, and I do appreciate that.
And there were times that I asked a question, though, that you thought I should know, and it just didn't go so well, and I would get Ron'd.
I guess the Ronning experience was probably something I had a big hand in, just because he probably Ron'd me more than anyone else, I would think. But we had a problem at Uncle Mark's company where I did something at night, in the morning the systems didn't come back up. So I had to call Ron in a panic early in the morning. He just kind of chuckled, said, "Just get in the car and drive down there. You got to get it fixed." So it was the longest hour drive of my life. I get down there, sweating, shaking, thinking I've lost data, and I had to press F1 on the keyboard and everything came back. So calling Ron back and listening to his laughter when I told him what the problem was definitely a memorable experience.
I've gotten Ron before. Many people on this video will probably note that the verb Ron'd was created here at GraVoc. Getting caught in a long story when you don't have the time to have that story with Ron. Sometimes he would come in to talk to Matt and I, and we'd have another meeting or we'd have to get back to something. So one of us would call the other person, and there was a code word, and there's trouble at the Lansing data center. And that was the code word to interject and come in to get the person out of the other conversation with Ron.
I'd love for Ron to, get mad at me one more time, but that ship has sailed, and I'm just glad that he's finally able to retire.
I would love to thank him for literally being so nice to me and keeping me employed and teaching me everything he knows, because otherwise I probably wouldn't cut it here. I see the people that get like hired now and like the requirements, and there's no way that I would even cut it past the interview process. And I want to thank him for that, because I literally would be working someplace else, probably still at the car dealership, and I want to wish him well because he's always been great to me. So.
Congratulations, Ron, and from the bottom of my heart, and I think I probably speak for everybody else here, thank you. Like, you've been an instrumental part of shaping my career, shaping the culture of the place where we all work, and lifting this company off the ground.
My move to IT a few years ago was not planned, and I looked to him for his knowledge and his guidance, and he never let me down. I appreciate that more than he'll ever know. So I wish him and Sudi the best of times in their retirement years, and I look forward to seeing him again in his Hawaiian shirt.
I wish him well and a long and prosperous retirement, and good luck, with everything. We'll miss you, Ron, and good luck, and thanks for everything that you taught me and everything you've done for GraVoc, and happy retirement.
Other than Kathy and Dave, you are one of 2 people who've been here longer than I have, and it's really been great working with you. But very seriously, Ron, I enjoyed working with you through all these years, and I wish you and Sudi all the best as you start this new phase of your life. Congratulations.
So Ron, as you watch this, I hope you're sitting down in New Orleans with listening to some jazz and maybe enjoying some of that Bitcoin money. It's been a fun ride. It's been a pleasure working with you. Obviously, I hope you keep in touch and drop by to tell some stories time and again. But wishing you the best in your next endeavor, and all the best moving forward.
Ron, I just want to congratulate you on your retirement. We worked a long time together. I wanted you to know that through the years, you've always been just a role model, a mentor, a great teammate, a great boss, and I consider you a friend. And I'm glad to have known you, and I'm super excited that you're finally able to retire and enjoy your golden years with Sudi. So enjoy it, man. Go open up a retro video shop or something. You earned it.
Ron, I'm hoping that I'll be able to kind of fill those shoes and take GraVoc to the next level like you had over the years. I wish you luck, and I hope you can relax and have a nice retirement and not have to be busy all the time.
Ron, I know that you always gave 100% of yourself to GraVoc and the people you worked for, and I wish you the very, very best with whatever you pursue in the future.
Ron, thank you so much for everything you've done for GraVoc, for my family personally, for your commitment to our company and the growth of our company. I've always enjoyed working with you, being around you in the office, and I know that you'll enjoy your retirement. I hope you get to do a lot of traveling, go to a lot of shows, and I hope that you're not a stranger and I get to see you even though you won't be working here day to day at GraVoc. So thank you, Ron.
Ron, this is totally out of my comfort zone, so I hope you appreciate this as much as we appreciate you. It's been a great 24 years. I can't believe it's 24 years already. In the beginning, I didn't see you that much because I was home with kids, but I always knew you were there because of your impact on GraVoc. You were a great teacher, a mentor, employee, and a friend. We appreciate everything you did for GraVoc. We enjoy yours and Sudi's travels. We hope you continue with many more and report back to us. We enjoy listening to all the different places you've been and will continue to go. We appreciate everything you have done for not only making GraVoc grow and become what it is today, but for being a true friend to all of our employees. You were always there to help people, you were always there to teach and to share your knowledge and to be the buffer between the customers and us when things weren't great and when they were great. And we appreciate everything you did for us.
Ron, it's been an amazing 24 years. When we started the journey together, I wasn't sure, how long the journey would go, but you've been there every step of the way, helped me, you've helped my family. You've helped this company and you've helped other employees realize their full potential. And for that, I shall ever be grateful. I can't tell you how grateful I am. Even though you're retiring, it doesn't mean I won't see you. That stop in, say hello. We'll always be friends. Thanks.